Wow, this is amazing. I just finished this talk here, and I just got inspired with another important message here. So we're going to do that real quick here. Let me just let a few people know that we're on again. Yeah, I'll be right there. Here, just letting a few people know. Okay. All right, so now this is really important because somebody, this just came up today and I was praying about it and the Lord gave me the answer what to talk about this. Because I put out some ecstatic devotional videos that, because we record all our satsangs, this is being recorded, everything is, and often this wonderful spirit of devotion, ecstatic devotion, comes and just overshadows our meetings. So anyway, I put an ecstatic video out and said this is we were just blessed by this ecstasy and this worship. And so a devotee writes back, and I think a lot of people heard this before, and we're going to explain what has not been explained before. The Lord just gave me this, He's just making it all clear. Okay? So we're going to explain the unexplainable. So the question is, do devotees know that they're engaging in pure devotional service? So one person said, when I put the video out, he said, oh, well, Srila Sridhar Maharaj said that if a person proclaims that they have devotion, they don't really have devotion, because a devotee doesn't know they got devotion. And anyway, he quotes these things, and a lot of times it's out of context, people quote. So I wanted to clear this up, because a lot of people miss opportunities, and they just don't understand these verses properly. So, there's three different states that devotees experience, okay? So, when a person says that, well, a devotee who is experiencing devotion, pure devotional love of God, they don't feel themselves to be even a devotee. Okay, so that's there. So here a person like me, I'm putting up these videos saying, oh, look at this blessing we got. And the person quotes that verse. He said, you see, he's proclaiming that he's got devotion, therefore it's not true. See? Now what's the flaw in that? It's out of context. It's something being quoted not by an experienced devotee. Okay? So we need to know the full range of how this devotional energy manifests in this world, and otherwise if devotees like Rupa Goswami didn't know they had some devotion, why would they write about it? If they don't think they're devotees, why should they even write? Why bother? See? Okay, so what we need to know is the three different states that devotees experience to understand that saying of Prabhupada or Sridhar Maharaj or whoever is saying it. Even Lord Caitanya said it. Is when a devotee is experiencing the states of either full internal absorption in love of God, that means he's not externally conscious. It's a kind of a rare Mahabhav state. Then they don't feel they got any devotion. And even in the partial, they're feeling devotional symptoms like tears and jubilation or ecstasy or separation or, laughing or all this. They don't feel they're devotees either. See, while they're absorbed in that state. See, now devotees also experience external consciousness. It's like Lord Caitanya and his devotees were in one of these three states. Either full absorption, internal, or partial, internal, external. They'd be talking a little bit and all that. Or external consciousness. And in external consciousness, they can look and analyze everything. See, that's why these books are written. If Rupa Goswami or Vishwanath Chakravarti didn't figure they had any devotion, why should they write books about devotional service? See, they did it in external consciousness, not while they're absorbed in relishing it. This knowledge comes just like this. Here, how many people are talking about? They think they understand how devotional shows up. They think if a devotee is preaching about pure devotional principles and experience and devotional service, or even promoting it and saying, "This is wonderful. Look at this video." They say, "You see, that can't be real," because they think he's propagating this. And because if he was a real devotee, he wouldn't even know he had devotion. Well, devotees naturally feel that when they're absorbed in devotional ecstasy. But when they're in external consciousness, they can see things more clear than anybody, actually, because knowledge is simultaneously bestowed. Revelation is bestowed upon the devotees. I mean, this here is a whole revelation about this. I mean, I never understood exactly how to say this here until today. This is a revelation that comes from ecstatic worship. And so when devotees are absorbed in that, they feel like they're the lowest and they're fools and rascals and why me and all of that. But then when they're in external consciousness, they could analyze everything as it is and discuss and propagate and write books about devotion and all these things. See? So if you're armed with this revelation, actually, then you won't be fooled by usually the inexperienced devotees preaching like that. They take a verse out of context, and real devotion may be here, and they say, "You see, he's propagating this thing, therefore it can't be real." See? But you never thought to ask, well, maybe he's in external consciousness, and now he's got his marbles there, and he's not in just devotional ecstasy, feeling the lowest of the low, and now he can talk about it like we're doing here and analyze the situation. Do you see how important external consciousness is? How else would we be analyzing? Thank you very much. How else could we be talking about this? You have to be in external consciousness. And later on in the day, you'll probably see me just like floating in another state, feeling like really low, like, why me? I'm no devotee, man, blah, blah. This is just how it shows up. See, so don't catch the devotees in external consciousness propagating pure devotional principles, which is really important, and say that they're not, the real deal, or you say, "You see, that can't be true," and then you use a verse out of context to prove it. This is what just happened this morning. Many people are misled by people who are not experienced on the path, don't experience these devotional symptoms, don't know how they show up in one's own body, and therefore they preach in a wrong way, okay, and mislead many people who believe them. So the only persons that can actually preach pure devotional service or Shuddha Bhakti principles are those who experience these three states. At least two of them. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about this because it's really important, and as we're preaching and propagating pure devotional service in this world, and because people are coming up with these things that are, out of context quotes and say, well, it can't be real because that, I had people leave here because they've said that, people have said, well, it can't be real because he wouldn't know that he's a devotee, Why does he preach like that? See, in other words, that person preaching that doesn't really know. They're preaching something they're just speculating about. But people, you believe the wrong persons that are not experienced in these three states of devotional experience, external consciousness, partial and full absorption, then, how are you going to really know the truth? You're only going to get speculation. So what we're teaching is all in Caitanya Charitamrita. I'm not dreaming this up. This is in there. You could read in Caitanya Charitamrita the three states of consciousness that Lord Chaitanya experienced. That means his devotees experience it also. Okay? Anyone who experiences the gift of ecstatic devotion given in our disciplic line. You have to find the line within the line where it's being preached. You can't preach it in just because you never go into these other states. You're just in a, kind of a normal state. You have to go into the ecstatic states, and then you can bring back understanding of how it all shows up and works properly. You'll get the proper conclusion. So many people are being misled because they don't understand pure devotional principles. People are quoting things out of context because they don't have the experience. All right, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Jesus. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, and their devotees. Hare Krishna. Welcome, everybody. So we have an interesting topic here. It's something I've been thinking about for years, because and I'm sure many devotees out there who are on the path of Vaishnavism have also thought about this to some level. How are actual devotional principles preached by devotees who believe that they have no devotion? Isn't that kind of a paradox? Kind of strange, huh? Especially when we read verses. I mean, Lord Chaitanya himself in Caitanya Charitamrita said, a devotee who is absorbed in devotion believes that doesn't he have a drop of devotion for Krishna. See? So I know, and I've had this laid on me today, and made me really think deeply about it. I'm so happy that that devotee actually did this, because it's really opened up a real important realm of discussion. He said, well, you're putting out these videos of devotional ecstasy like this, it was prayers. I put out this video, prayers in devotional ecstasy. And he said, well, you see, that's proof. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said that a person that is absorbed in devotion, a person that has real devotion doesn't think they have devotion, and you're promoting it. See? So therefore, this is not real. Okay, so this is like only partial. It's like quoting something a little bit out of context, and it's actually something that everybody really would understand real clearly. You have to get special kind of a revelation. I think that came today, and that's what I'm going to discuss. I'm really actually excited about it, because it's going to clear up a lot of things for not only me, but I think for other devotees. This is Lord Chaitanya's mercy. I really feel that in our disciplic mind. So anyway, we talked in the previous video that there are three states of consciousness that devotees enter into. Right? One is external consciousness. Another is partial external internal consciousness. And the other is full absorption in devotion. So much they were kind of lost to this world. Okay? So external consciousness is like the devotee appears like an ordinary person. He even said that's one of the qualities of devotees, ecstatic devotees, is sometimes they appear like normal, ordinary persons. Like Ramananda Roy, he was a government servant. Mukunda was a doctor, so they're just talking, and just being like a normal person. Lord Chaitanya also. Okay? So this is the principles in Caitanya Charitamrita. And then sometimes when devotees are doing bhajan, they get absorbed in partial internal. That means they're starting to now feel this intimacy with God, and the beauty of it, the ecstasy of this. But they're still a little conscious of the world, a little bit conscious, And they may speak in ecstasy, sometimes they say things, stuff like that. So Lord Chaitanya was in that state, and so are his devotees, just naturally, they have the same thing. And sometimes full absorption, okay? So now, when you hear somebody say, well, if this person was really a devotee, he wouldn't know that he's a devotee. So therefore, because he's propagating books or videos or writings about pure devotional service, he can't be a devotee. Okay? Now, you see, if you just think partially, you have to see the whole picture. If this were so, then why would Rupa Goswami write a book about pure devotional service and pure devotional symptoms and pure symptoms, if he didn't think he was a devotee, how would he even pass that book out? Why would he even do it? How could you honestly pass out a book that you don't, when you don't feel that you have any devotion? Why are you such an authority then on devotion if you don't think you're a devotee? You see this, so people are wondering, well, if this person's a real devotee, then they can't propagate it because they don't know they're a devotee. They're not a real devotee. See, this is not understanding the whole thing. It hinges on these three different states of consciousness of a devotee. Of course, when he's absorbed in partial, internal, and external, or full absorption, the devotee naturally feels the lowest of the low, not have feeling any qualification like fool number one, all these things. See, and just naturally, because that's how the Lord himself feels, actually. Feels he's very, doesn't worthy in that state. Okay. So, but the devotee doesn't usually stay in that state unless you're like not slated for this world and you're just going to be off in the cave somewhere. If you're certainly not going to be in that state if you're a preacher of this. See, so when you catch a devotee in external consciousness, okay, it's like a person diving into this ocean of bhakti and devotion, and in all these. He's relishing in others, and it pulls back and brings back all these valuable jewels of realizations, experiences, okay? And so he writes a book, or maybe like here, back then they didn't have any video equipment. We do now. So we do our satsangs, and now these moods of devotion just by the Lord's mercy start to overtake not only me, but some other devotees in our Sangha also, to various degrees. So we have the capacity to record them, so we do. Pictures too, we take pictures of, this is what devotion, when a person's absorbed in devotion, looks like. So we go in there, and the video camera's rolling, I don't know, it's just rolling, man. And it's here, it's happening, it's getting recorded. Okay? So we come back out into external consciousness, and we got this impression, picture, photograph, videos of what it is. What does this pure devotional state look like? What is its characteristics? And I get excited. I say, wow, look at this. And when I read the Leela, I see, because of this kind of mercy, I see the deeper purport. It's just right there. It's like Lord Caitanya, when he preached this, the beginning of the Sankirtan movement was, he took his devotees inside a room and he started to chant the holy name. He just said the name Krishna, and then tears came to his eyes. And he felt, oh, Gaurahari, I spent my life uselessly in this and that. You are so advanced, feeling really low and everything. And as the Lord was relishing devotional mellows, then they picked it up because of their faith in his devotion, faith in him. See? So they picked it up, and they also became ecstatic also, just like him. So I get excited. Here we have these recordings of all these nice videos of being recorded when the Lord's mercy is just upon us, and these states are just taking over, and the tears and the laughter and all kinds of amazing things. And I come back into external consciousness, and I say, wow, this is valuable, because people who watch these videos, they will also get devotion, and they also do. I just made a video a little while ago, and one devotee's been with us for years. He's also now ecstatic. He says, Ma, I just feel like, the truth of it, and my tears are coming and all that. Because that's the way this devotion is spread, is by seeing it. If you don't see it, then you don't get it. It's just Vaidhi Bhakti. The Lord taught this devotional service by tasting it. That's the first thing the devotees do. They're tasting intimacy with God. And if you happen to be there and you see it, even if you see a video impression of it, oh man, to me, I know better. And so people misunderstand. They say, he just wants to be a big devotee and a big egotist and all that. I'm not thinking. I'm thinking, no, if they see this, they're going to get it too. Even though they may balk and scoff and all this stuff that most devotees do. Most. They think Gaurahari, he wants to show off and all that. No, I want you guys to also relish this nectar. My life is successful. See, now, how can you say that? Because if you were a real devotee, you would know. Well, the way I know is I'm in external consciousness now, man. But when I'm in there and relishing these things, these amazing things, I think I'm the lowest of the low. But now I can analyze. Not only analyze, everything is enhanced because of going into these devotional states. To me, this is mercy. And I don't want to just be the only one. I want you out there also to be also one, and then another one, and then another one, and another one. Why? Because the Lord wants this. He wants everybody to have an intimate relationship with him. See, and devotees naturally, it's like Radhika's name and her girlfriends are all the same, and all people in Vraj. The meaning of Radhika is one who gives pleasure to Krishna. Krishna's pleasure is that he wants to make more, he wants more intimacy with all of us. You, me, everyone. So I just, I can't help it. I'm excited. I'm passionate. I want people to realize these things. And because I've been doing this for 37 years from the platform above. I mean, honestly, I'm not saying, I'm just saying from analytical point. When I first came to Krishna, I immediately went into the Bhav state. I immediately felt affinity and attraction and devotion for Lord Caitanya. Say, well, again, how can you say that? Well, because I'm in external consciousness now. See, I can analyze, not only analyze, it's enhanced analyzation because of being able to go into these states. Now, how else can you preach bhakti? If Rupa Goswami didn't think he was a devotee, how could he write that book and propagate it? How could Srinivas and all these devotees propagate devotional service if they didn't feel they were devotees or they had devotion? See, they did it in external consciousness, and they're enhanced. Like if anybody watches these TV shows now, they have a lot of this Marvel stuff, enhanced men, enhanced this, enhanced that. Well, devotees get enhanced by going into the ecstatic platform of devotion. When they're absorbed in devotion, they're enhanced with revelations and realizations that the other devotees that aren't capable of doing yet. So to get there, you go and you listen to those persons and what they bring back from their going into these deeper states of intimacy with God, devotional trance, they call it, Bhakti-Vinod. You listen to them. Yeah, Swarab Damanar said, you want to be an experienced devotee, you learn Srimad Bhagavatam, and that means Chaitanya Leela, from the self-realized devotees who experience devotional trance, intimacy with God, ecstasy, tears, laughter, all kinds, shaking, choking in voice, many devotional symptoms. You hear from them. And then you'll also experience the waves. See, this is the way it's preached. So don't get waylaid by inexperienced devotees and persons who just throw a verse out and say, well, he can't be a devotee. He's preaching pure devotional service. He's not supposed to know he's a devotee. Well, then why would Srila Prabhupada write Nectar of Devotion and propagate it if he didn't know devotional principles and how valuable it was and that he had devotion? Why should we get it from inexperienced persons? No, you got to get it from those who are devotees of the Lord or those who serve the devotees of the Lord, the Mahabhagavats. So this is really important because you're going to see people here, they're going to immediately say the same thing. They're going to say, well, you see, Gaurahari, he can't be preaching pure devotional principles because obviously he's proclaiming he's a great devotee and all that stuff. No, I'm propagating and proclaiming that devotion, pure devotional service is the most wonderful thing in the world. I'm proclaiming that. I'm proclaiming that the principles of pure devotional service, how to get it quick in charity in this life, is not by thinking you can get it doing perfect sadhana and chanting lakhs and lakhs and lakhs. No, the way you get it is in charity from those who already have a devotional relationship. Even if it, you might, whether I have or don't, but you have to eventually find a devotee who has a natural, loving relationship to Lord Chaitanya. Because in that association, around that ecstasy, all kinds of anarthas will just fly away that you can't get rid of doing offensive chanting. See? The devotees who are absorbed in devotional ecstasy, the Lord has given his mercy there. And then if you want that mercy, you get it there. That's the distribution point. Okay? See, all these things, where did I get this? I got it from Caitanya Lila. I got it from experience. I got it from going into these states for 37 years. Who knows in the last lifetime? I don't know. But from the very beginning. Who knows these things? Who's teaching these things? That's why I have to do it. Nobody really understands these things that I've seen. They all understand all these parts of it. They don't understand the full picture or more of the picture. See? You only get that by devotional experience. See? So that's why it has to be propagated by devotees, and those who serve those devotees. See, you can, when you serve devotees and you have faith in them, then you can be empowered. Even before the Christians, the apostles, before they got the Spirit, they were able to serve Jesus because they believed in him. And he just gave them the word, and they believed in his word, and therefore they could do amazing things. Even before they got the Holy Spirit. That's empowerment. See, a devotee of the devotee of the devotees. So these devotional principles, hey Shushil, thank you for coming. And they have to be propagated by devotees, and when they're in external consciousness, they can organize stuff, they can get the video, they can edit, they can do all these things that normal people can do, but even better. They can manage things better. Prabhupada was a manager in all of this, and he's preaching also the nectar devotion he's given out, Chaitanya Charitamrita classes and all of this, gets absorbed in that, and then comes back in external consciousness, manages everything, organizes stuff. How? Why? This is because it's one of the states of consciousness that the devotees of Lord Chaitanya manifested, as well as the Lord. Okay. So don't be waylaid by people saying, well, this can't be real because he's propagating pure devotional principles. Well, anybody, when that's what Srinivas and Narottam did, is they were pure devotees. And they also propagated pure devotional principles in service and books even. They were able to propagate the books of the Goswamis. See, so that's how it works. You got to see the whole picture. So hopefully this helps people see more of the whole picture. And you don't get, see, the problem is in Raganuga Bhakti and spontaneous devotional service, there's so few people at this time that know it by experience. They're all looking at the books, and they pull out partial verses, and they think they know, and they think they preach against it when actual devotee is here. They even use these out of context verses, not complete explanation, to preach against it. Just like I had this morning. A wonderful video that could probably change people's lives. I have somebody pull out verses out of context. He doesn't ever, I don't think, cry a tear for Krishna. I mean, probably highly doubt it. Otherwise, he wouldn't preach like that. He just immediately preached again. Probably didn't even watch the video. So, I mean, this is what we're dealing with to preach pure devotional service. A lot of people are professors, and they never even experienced crying for Krishna yet. So how can you be any authority? Yeah. Okay, so basically that's what I wanted to say about this, and I think I'll write a little blog about it, because it's important. I think this will help devotees understand how pure devotional service is going to be preached and is being preached in this world, at this time. And, okay, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Jesus Christ, and Lord Caitanya, Nityananda, and Radha and Krishna, and all their servants, and all our wonderful viewers here on Facebook Live.